Hello and welcome again to another video from EasyGeek TV. In this video we're gonna revisit the TimeShift or system restore. So let's start straight away by opening it. Type in your password. So if you remember from the previous videos, we created a system restore point within the internal disk drive where the Linux Mint Mate system is installed. Now we want to make some changes to that. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to pause the video for it to finish and restart recording in a bit. Perfect. So now the system restore point from TimeShift is disabled. This time though, we're going to use the external portable hard disk drive. And we're going to use the default settings again. So let's start the wizard again. Next. Let's collect the information. As you can see, this is the portable disk drive. Now, here's a couple of things you should keep in mind. As you can see here at the bottom explained, it says the devices displayed above have Linux file systems. Devices with Windows file systems are not supported. So this external disk drive that I have in here, it does have both a Windows NTFS file system based, so it's divided into two partitions. One is Windows based and one is extended for journaling system, which is a Linux file system. This is what we're going to make use of, the second half of the disk, the second partition. So we're going to move with that. Go next. And again, this is not the ideal option, but if you don't have an option to add an internal disk drive as shown in the previous video, prior to this video, then you definitely want to use an external disk drive. So let's select the weekly. And again, I want to emphasize here that if you create a lot of documents, files, music, videos, and so on and so forth, you want to use the daily option. We're going to hit next again. So we want to make sure that we include all files. This is important. Next. And finish. Now, we're going to create the first system restore or TimeShift point in the external disk at this point. And since this is a mechanical disk drive, it might take a while, as it is not an SSD based one. I'm going to skip the part of this video while this is being created. So this is the first part of the video where we are transferring the TimeShift location from the base SSD where the Linux system is installed to an external portable disk drive. And this will not be mounted on all the times, right? So if let's say in the schedule is the system is scheduled to, let's say tomorrow, to backup, to create a restore point into the portable disk drive, and the portable disk drive is not plugged in, is not available, it will be skipped. So that's why in the second part of this video, we're going to use the previously set up internal disk drive in the previous video, if you follow the channel. This is the best way to move forward. So this will be covered in the second part. So I'm going to skip this part in here and get back once this is done. Perfect. So the system restore point has been created. And we can see that the location is based on the external disk drive. In this case, this one here. Now, we want to go back and revert everything, because this is just the first part of the video. And I would say that the best option is to, if you do have the option to do that, do use an internal disk drive. It's much easier to manage, create the restore points and manage your files and so on and so forth. So I'm going to revert back. But first, let's check if if things here have been properly backed up. Let's go to the disks again. Let's select the 320 external disk drive. Let's manage So this is where it is based. Now this is the external disk drive, right? So, well, another thing we want to do if you intend to use this as a default option to create restore points is we want to edit the mount options. You want to remove this and you want to set the identify as label mint restore, which is the folder, actually the partition dedicated to creating system restore points with TimeShift. Now it's asking for the password again. Type in your password. Perfect. So that should do it for the external disk drive. And now we're going to revert back things and we'll actually use the internal disk drive, the one on top, as you can see here. This will be the default option from now on. So the second part of this video, where we're starting now, is dedicated to that. So I'm going to close that. When I actually remove that again, let's say disks. I'm going to revert back the settings, edit mount options. Perfect. This is reverted back to its original. We're going to do the same here. And actually, this is this gets a bit complicated if you want to use an external disk drive. I would say do format it in extended for journaling system and Linux file system. It's not a good idea to mix them both, but as you can see, the video is just for demonstration purposes, right? I'm going to revert everything back. Going to close the disks. I'm going to close the window as well. And we're going to delete that. So I'll skip this part. Done. So now here's where we get a bit more serious when it comes to creating restore points and managing the files in our operating system. So let's start to do this with the wizard again, the proper way, if I can say so. Right, start again. Start location. We changed that to the internal mechanical disk drive, which is the SDA. We've set the mount point to show up as backups. And we're going to eject this safely. The external disk drive, we don't need it anymore. And so it doesn't confuse us in the system. Now, once that's done, we're going to hit OK. And here we're going to create the first restore point into the internal mechanical disk drive. So again, I'm going to skip this part, come back once it's done. So the first restore point has been created already, and you can see the location by opening the computer browser. Let's go into the internal disk drive, and as you can see, the folder has been created. There you go, the snapshots have been created. And this now will go on according to the schedule. So you don't need to do anything from here on, unless, let's say, if you want to make some changes to it. Let's say schedule, let's say instead of weekly, you want to do daily and so on and so forth, and select the number of snapshots to create. And again, this depends on how often you use to create documents, folders, files, audio, video, pictures, and so on and so forth. So, and you can see that everything has been selected. No need to add filters and so on. So perfect. So this is how you use the system restore or TimeShift in the in the Linux world. Hopefully this video was useful to you and will make your life easier to get the hang of using the Linux Mint system. If so, do like the video, subscribe, and share the video if someone might find it useful. And in the upcoming videos, we're going to deal with other stuff like installing and removing software, checking the hardware system. There will be different videos dedicated to different topics. So do stick around, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, and see you in another video. Bye bye.